Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 22nd of December 2022 or 23. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover the most important articles from the newspaper. Some of the articles were from the environment and ecology section, some articles are from international relations section, and many articles are there from Indian polity section, right? So we are going to discuss each and every article that were important from the newspaper today. Along with this, we have also included two mapping topics. We are going to discuss about those mapping topics so that you can prepare for the prelims exam in a holistic manner. Now let us discuss the list of articles. So these are the articles that we have selected for discussion today, right? So we are going to discuss these articles one by one. So now let us quickly move to the first topic, which is a mapping topic. Okay, so this particular topic was in news, right? Gulf of Guinea. Okay, this is known as Gulf of Guinea. So today we are going to understand about Gulf of Guinea. This region has been in news because what has happened, like this is a gulf, and this gulf, let's say, shares its maritime border with many African countries. And what is happening, if we talk about the continent of Africa, in many countries inside Africa, there are internal turmoils. There are, let's say, civil wars going on, and military coup is happening repeatedly. So it is important that you should give a special emphasis on understanding the physical geography of Africa, the regions, let's say, maritime regions around Africa, and also this is Lake Victoria. We discussed about it earlier. So the thing is, Gulf of Guinea is located over here, and the countries that are listed, countries whose name is given over here, these are the countries that share its maritime border with Gulf of Guinea. For example, one of the country is Cote d'Ivoire. Okay, this is one of the country. Then we have Ghana. Third is Benin. Fourth is Togo. Fifth is Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria. Sixth is Cameroon, right? Seventh is Equatorial Guinea. Eighth is Gabon. And then ninth, Sao Tome and Principe. Okay, so these are the countries that surround the Gulf of Guinea. You need to understand, you need to remember name of these countries. However, let's say you can remember it in, let's say, in a clockwise fashion. Remember the name of the countries in this order, or you can remember in the opposite order also. It totally depends on you, but do some practice related to it. And also it is important for us to understand that through the Gulf of Guinea, actually equator passes. So as we know that through Africa, equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, all of these three passes. So equator is the 0-degree line. Tropic of Cancer is, let's say, 23.5 degree. Okay, 23.5 degree north latitude. Tropic of Capricorn is again 23.5 degree south latitude. Okay, what is the significance of Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn? Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn signifies the highest, let's say, highest latitudinal extent up to which the sunlight can fall vertically on the earth, right? Sunlight falls vertically on the equator, and let's say up to the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere and up to the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. So that is an important point for you to note. And all these three lines, which is equator, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, they passes through it, right? And earlier in our, let's say, mapping discussion, we have discussed about Mediterranean Sea, we have discussed about Red Sea, we have discussed about this Lake Victoria also, we have discussed about, let's say, many other region. Okay, so now let us quickly move to the first topic for discussion. Okay, so we are going to discuss this topic. This is a topic, let's say, for prelims exam. It is prelims oriented. This topic is important under environment and ecology. It's important for the prelims exam specifically, and if it comes in the mains exam, so it will be part of GS paper 3. It will be part of GS paper 3. Somehow conservation related questions may be asked. Now let us understand heading of this topic. It says, coming soon, a cafeteria for oil spill hit birds at creek in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so we are going to understand this topic quickly. So when we talk about oil spill, right? Oil spill, when we talk about oil spill, so what is oil spill basically? basically what happens when we talk about sea, when we talk about ocean, through seas and oceans, many cargo ships pass, many ships pass, and most of these ships are operated using, let's say, diesel or maybe petroleum or other form of, let's say, fossil fuel based oils, right? So their engines are run through fossil fuel based oils. Many a times, because of some mishappening, some accident, right, the oil from the tankers, right, the oil from the tankers in these ships, right, can get spilled, right? So these oil can let's say, like, spread on the surface of the sea, on the surface of the ocean. So what impact does it cause? Whenever there is an oil spill, it is considered to be a disaster for the marine life, right? So the fish, or let's say all kind of marine phytoplanktons, okay, so marine, let's say, they can be flora, they can be fauna. So inside the seas, inside the oceans, all kind of life forms or marine life, right, they, let's say, get affected because of oil spill. Because whenever oil spill happens, first of all, it blocks the sunlight. Second thing is it causes pollution, so they feel difficulty in breathing. Third thing is, let's say, the food gets spoiled and many of these species may get killed, okay. So oil spill is considered to be a disaster, it's a disaster. Recently what has happened? Recently an oil spill has been seen from the industries in Manali, okay. So oil spill has happened from the industries in Manali. So in that region, what has happened, since oil spill has happened, so the birds that were flocking around in those water, let's say, areas, right, in those marshy lands or water areas, now these birds are no longer coming because some of the bird species have died and now other birds are not coming over there. So what has happened? Some authorities have decided that, like, they are going to create a fenced, let's say, like, fenced area, right, where birds can flock, right, fenced area in a kind of water body. So experts are planning to establish a feeding station for birds at Ennore Creek, okay. So there is an Ennore Creek, so there they have decided that they are going to create a kind of feeding place, feeding station, where birds can come, they can feed over, they can, let's say, like, feed there and they can go. So experts from the Wildlife Trust of India and Basin Memorial Animal Husbandry, right, so they have they are planning to establish a feeding station for birds at the creek, where contamination due to oil spill from the industries in Manali has brought down the bird population drastically, okay. So this is the thing. So what you need to do, so this has happened in Tamil Nadu, right, in the state of Tamil Nadu. So the State Department of Environment, Climate and Forest Change, right, agency, so they have basically they are deciding how to, let's say, like, feed those birds, so that birds, their livelihoods, their life remains intact, because those people who are bird watchers, so they never want birds to die, right. So they want to protect, and everybody wants to protect the birds, because, like, it is very important that we protect the diversity of the species around different places, okay. So this is a, let's say, a new topic that gives us a new perspective, that birds, like the conservationists or environmentalists, they are thinking of establishing a feeding station for birds so that they can feed over there properly, okay. So this is just a news from Environment and Ecology section. Now with this, let us now move to another topic quickly. So this is also for the prelims exam, right. It says missing for 42 years, Namdapha flying squirrel resurfaces in Arunachal Pradesh, okay. So we have heard about squirrels, so many a times squirrels are not able to fly, right. So means, like, squirrels are land-based animals, but the thing is, there is a species of squirrel, it is known as Namdapha flying squirrel. So Namdapha flying squirrel is generally found in Arunachal Pradesh. Where it is found? It is found in Arunachal Pradesh. So this Namdapha flying squirrel was missing, it was considered to be extinct from Arunachal Pradesh, right. Now it has resurfaced, it's, let's say, like, its population was recently seen. So cited finally a picture of Namdapha flying squirrel, okay. It was found in the reserve of Arunachal Pradesh. It was found in Arunachal Pradesh. So why Namdapa flying squirrel is important? Because it is one of the species that is under grave danger, let's say very high level of threat. You might have heard about the United Nations IUCN, right? So this is IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. So International Union for Conservation of Nature maintains a list of threatened species. So this list is known as Red List of Threatened Species. It has, let's say, 7 different categories. One of the categories says least concern, other category says extinct, and all other categories are in between. They can be vulnerable, they can be let's say endangered, they can be critically endangered also. So Namdapa flying squirrel is one of the species, right? So that was found that was found in Arunachal Pradesh earlier, but it went missing for a long time. Now a picture has been clicked that it still exists. Okay, so what is the scientific name of Namdapa flying squirrel? It is Vishwa Muyo Petrus Bishwasi. Okay, so this is the name of the Namdapa flying squirrel, and there is a Namdapa tiger reserve also in Arunachal Pradesh, right, in Changlang district. So I'm going to showcase a map where is Namdapa, let's say this Namdapa tiger reserve is located. All right, so what you need to do is you need to identify what is the IUCN status of the Namdapa flying squirrel. In your free time, search about it and identify and let's say remember the IUCN status of Namdapa flying squirrel. So we are seeing Namdapa Tiger Reserve. Okay, Namdapa Tiger Reserve, as we discussed, it is in Changlang district in Arunachal Pradesh. So this is India map. Over here to the northeast we have Arunachal Pradesh, and so if we, let's say, like enlarge the map of Arunachal Pradesh, this is, let's say, a kind of, you know, enlarged map of Arunachal Pradesh. Over here we have this Lohit district, right? We have Lohit district, and over here, let's say, we have Namdapa Tiger Reserve. Okay, Namdapa is over here. So this is in Changlang district, as we discussed. Okay, Changlang district nearby. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to understand that this Namdapa Tiger Reserve is located where? It is located in the state of Arunachal Pradesh in India. Now with this, we came to another topic, very important topic. So in this topic, we are going to understand, should an all India judicial services be created? Okay, so let's quickly understand some important concepts related to this. This is topic number 3. It says, should an all India judicial services be created? Okay, so we are going to discuss about should an all India judicial services be created. So recently some persons, right, some eminent persons have been interviewed by the Hindu group. Basically one of the person is Mr. Alok Prasad Kumar. He is the co-founder and lead of Vidhi Karnataka, and other is a lawyer based in Delhi. Okay, and he was a former civil judge also. So we are now going to understand what is all India judicial services. Do we need an all India judicial services in India? We are going to understand about some points, right, that talk about benefits of having all India judicial services, and at the same time we are going to talk about the points that are, let's say, negative aspects related to having an all India judicial services. So let us understand the context why this particular topic was in news, right? So recently what has happened, the President of India, Miss Draupadi Murmu, okay. So on the Constitution Day, right, on 26th of November 2023, she, let's say, met with the Chief Justice of India. I think they were in the compound of the Supreme Court of India, and there what has happened, basically there the President of India has talked about that we should create an all India judicial services. What she said, we should create an all India judicial services. What was the rationale that why she said that, like, why we need an all India judicial services? Basically, she has pointed out few important points. One important point is, she says if we create an all India judicial services, it is going to bring, right? It is going to bring diversity, right? It's going to bring diversity in judiciary, or it's going to bring diversity in judicial services, right? This is one thing. Other than that, she said that those people who come from the, let's say, like grassroots sections of the society, those people who were less empowered, right? For example, the SC communities, ST communities, OBC communities, and there can be tribal people also. So the thing is, like, vulnerable sections, or we can say the people from the grassroots section of the society will also be able to join the judiciary, These are some of the rationale that was pointed out by the President of India there. Now, through this article, the authors are talking about that, do we actually need an all India judicial services? What are the positives? So these points that we have discussed, these are some of the positive aspects of having, right? Positive aspects of having all India judicial services. But the thing is, what can be the negative impacts? Now let us discuss about this concept of all India judicial services. So when we talk about all India judicial services, here all India judicial services is envisaged, right, which will be similar to, right, they will be similar to, like, Indian civil services, similar to, let's say, all India civil services, all India civil services. All India civil services, for example, the Union Public Service Commission conducts, let's say, examination for recruiting civil servants. So under this, we have Indian Administrative Service, we have Indian Forest Service, we have Indian Police Service. So they are considered to be all India services. Then there are other civil services as well. So when all India judicial services will be created, so for hiring people, for recruiting people at the district district level judges, right? So through this examination, district level judges will be recruited. Okay, just district level judges will be recruited. Now presently what happens, if a person wants to become a district level judge, he has to practice, let's say, in district courts, he has to practice in high courts for a sufficiently long period of time, okay, for a sufficiently long period of time, after which, let's say, he may be considered, right, to be appointed as a judge, right, to be appointed as a judge in the district courts. And later on also what happens, let's say, for elevation of person from district level to high court level, right, that also requires sufficient experience, let's say, like, 10 to 15 years of experience is seen, right, it varies from states to states. So experience is seen of those persons. Now when we talk about all India judicial services, what they are thinking, that the age limit for the persons will be 35 years, 35 to 45 years. So a person who attains the age of up to 45 years to join all India judicial services, by that time that person might have qualified the LLB exam, might have had experience of 10 to 15 years. A lawyer who has an experience of 10 to 15 years, what he does, basically after acquiring that much experience, that person actually, let's say, like, starts doing his work, let's say, like, start doing his work in his own states. By that time that person gets married, he let's say settles his family. So the thing is, by after attaining this age, a person, let's say even if he thinks of joining All India Judicial Services, then he had to take a decision whether, let's say, like he will be comfortable in shifting from one state to another state or going from one place to another place. Because the thing is, by this year generally people are settled in their life. If they are settled, so they prefer to stay in their home cadre, in their home state. Okay, they don't want to go to some other state. So this is a kind of negative aspect that is associated with this thing. So recently a report was released. Okay, recently a report was released. What is the name of that report? I'm going to write down the name of the report for you. It says the India Justice Report. Okay, name of the report is the India Justice Report. IJR, India Justice Report of 2022. So Indian Justice Report of 2022, it shows that only 35% of subordinate court judges are women. No state has been able to meet the quotas for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes categories in the subordinate judiciary. So this report says that number of women judges in the district courts or in subordinate courts are very less in number. So only 35% of the women judges are there in the district courts and subordinate courts. If there are so less number of those people who are working in these things, so what has happened, like, there is a disparity in the sex ratio in the judiciary also. And in this report, actually, they have also told that even in some of the, let's say, like, some of the court subordinate courts, these female judges do not have a, let's say, washroom to go. Okay, so that talks about there is a lack of infrastructure, there is a lack of gender parity, right, in the services. And at the same time, presently there is no career progression, right, there is no established pattern of career progression for a person who joins the judiciary. Okay, so this, let's say, like, this goes through lot of issues, right. So this I mean, like, judiciary or people who are working as lawyers, they tend to earn more than the judges itself. So judgeship is not a easy profession, right. It requires, let's say, mental strength, and a person who wants to join judiciary, actually, let's say, many a times that person either has to come from a well-to-do family, so that, like, his earning should not matter for the family, right. If he comes from, let's say, lower classes, in that case, by the time he attains the age of 35 or 45 years, he might have struggled so much to have, let's say, like, settled in his own life and all. So in this article, basically, the authors have given a mixed opinion related to this. So author says that there are multiple issues with our district judiciary, and author says there are multiple issues with our judiciary. Just a minute. So sorry for the interruption. Okay, so the thing is, here in this article, the author finally says that there are multiple issues with our district judiciary, and almost none of them will really be addressed by an all India judicial service. Okay, so this is the thing. So author says that, like, all India judicial service is not a panacea which is going to do away with all the problems that the aspirants, right, the people who want to have an established career in judiciary will be able to fulfill. Okay, it's not a panacea. This is what is said by the author. Okay, now let us understand about another article quickly. This article, it says questionable searches under the Money Laundering Act. Okay, questionable searches under the Money Laundering Act. Let's discuss about this topic also. This is next topic. Let's say topic number 2. Questionable searches under the Money Laundering Act. So in India, basically like, we have a Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, we have a Prevention of Money Laundering Act. In short, this Prevention of Money Laundering Act is known as PMLA. Okay, it is known as PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This is PMLA. So let us understand about what do we mean by money laundering. Okay, let us understand the term money laundering so that like we are able to understand the context of this topic. Okay, money laundering. Let's understand about this term. Money laundering means, number one, money laundering means, let's say it includes many steps. Let's say someone is getting money from different sources, right? The money, the sources from where this person is getting money, these sources may not be legal sources, okay? A person may be getting those money through illegal sources. That can be one thing. Second thing is he's getting money from legal sources, but he's not paying tax, right? So the thing is that that is also unaccounted form of money. So this money, what he does, if he declares that money, let's say with the tax authorities, with the authorities in India, that person has to pay the tax as set by the government. Okay, he may have to pay 18% tax, 28% tax, it depends. Generally, those people who are involved in money laundering, they receive high amount of money. So like in India, we have, let's say, progressive taxation. What kind of taxation pattern we follow in India? We have a kind of, this is known as progressive taxation. Progressive taxation. What do we mean by progressive taxation? Progressive taxation generally means, let's say, like, here what we do, we have done, we have created income brackets. Okay, we have created income brackets, means like, taxation are done. Okay, taxation are done on the basis of income brackets of person. For example, a person who earns, right? For example, a person who earns less than 5 lakh a year, he may not have to pay any tax, right? No tax, no income tax. Basically, we are talking about income tax. In case a person earns, let's say, like, greater than 5 lakh, but less than 7.5 lakh, it can be there. Means this way, let's say, like, Government of India has created multiple such slabs. Okay, these are just hypothetical. I mean, like, these are not the exact figures. Okay, so there can be such tax brackets. So the thing is, taxation is being done based on how much an individual earns. If a person earns very high amount of money, he may have to pay 30% tax or 28% tax. So this is the highest amount of tax that the Government of India applies. Otherwise, if you purchase something, so you may have to pay GST. GST generally, let's say, is dependent on the type of good that you're purchasing. Somewhere you need to pay 5%, somewhere 12%, somewhere 18%, somewhere 28%, right? So a person who earns very high amount of money, that person has to pay high tax. Okay, that person has to pay very high tax, right? High income attracts high tax. So to evade the high taxation, people do not disclose their sources of income. After not disclosing their sources of income, now they don't want to keep that money also with them. If they keep that money, there can be search, seizure on them under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And if unaccounted money is found in his house, he may be arrested, because this act gives, let's say, the authorities, let's say, like, authority to arrest that person also, to investigate that person. So that's why money laundering involves, let's say, like, not disclosing the sources of income, right? So we are going to discuss about it. So what people do, people do not disclose. Okay, people do not disclose, or I can say no disclosure of sources of income. One thing, this involves keeping unaccounted money keeping unaccounted money. This involves evading or slash avoiding taxes, evading slash avoiding taxes. It also involves, let's say it also involves many other things. So just a minute. It also involves, let's say, like, evading or avoiding taxes or routing money. Means you received money from different sources. Now after receiving, you are, let's say, investing this money somewhere in such a manner that you are routing, and the authorities are not able to track from where the money came, where the money went. So that is known as money laundering. There are many people who might have done money laundering. They might have fled away from India also, just to avoid, let's say, being trapped under Money Laundering Act. So the thing is, now here in this article, basically they are saying questionable searches under the Money Laundering Act. Now what happens under this particular PMLA Act, under this Prevention of Money Laundering, right? Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So what happens? Many authorities are there that have been given, let's say, like there are many authorities in India that have been given the mandate to stop money laundering, to do investigation related to money laundering, to do search and seizures, or even to arrest a person, right? So some of these agencies involved, right? One of the foremost agency is enforcement, right? Enforcement Directorate, okay? Enforcement Directorate, or in short it is known as ED. It is so much in news because of the, let's say, like, because of the politics associated with search and seizures, right, of many members. So this is one of the agencies, Enforcement Directorate. Then we have Central Bureau of Investigation, so they do investigation. There are other agencies also, okay, other agencies also. But the primary agency that is in limelight, that is highlighted, is the Enforcement Directorate. So in this article, what the author says that, like, people, the central government is utilizing, right, its authority over these agencies, over these central agencies, to actually, right, target the opposition members, right, to target the opposition members. And since they are targeting the opposition member, so there are motivated use of, let's say, sending these agencies to the houses of politicians from opposition parties, getting their, let's say, houses searched, right, getting their premises searched, or even, let's say, like, without proper evidence, arresting those people. So in this article, basically author has said that the abuse of authority by the central investigating agencies and the abuse of the process of court raises disturbing questions, okay? This is what the author is saying. Here author has mentioned that there is a selective targeting, right, of individuals by the CBI, by the Enforcement Directorate. This is what they said. And recently the Supreme Court of India has also given some verdict, okay? Interestingly, what the ED has done, so like now the CBI and ED have absolute freedom to do what is not authorized under the judgments of the Supreme Court. Basically the author is criticizing, okay? A lot of criticism is there of the Enforcement Directorate, of the CBI, right, in this article. So author says, like, all these things are basically damaging to the federalism in the country. Like, we want to protect the federal structure in the country, but the thing is, overuse of power by the central agencies is not, let's say, in sync or not in tune with the spirit of democracy in India. Now we have another article. It says analyzing the Post Office Bill 2023. We'll be little quick to understand this topic because much is not written over here. Now recently what has happened, the central government has introduced the Post Office Bill 2023 in the Parliament. Post Office Bill has been introduced in the Parliament. Now what is Post Office Bill? Because through this bill, basically they want to they want to regulate the post offices properly, and not only this, this particular bill gives authority to the post offices to intercept the parcels that are being sent through the post offices. Means if you send a parcel through the post offices, the parcels may be intercepted, may be opened, may be seen what is the content in those parcels. And this particular act is giving authority, right, to the post office officials. Now the question arises that is it against the right to privacy of individuals? Because like if you are sending something through post, you are sending, let's say maybe you are sending a letter to your loved ones, maybe you are sending a letter to someone. So this is a confidential, let's say, communication that you want to do, right, with the counterpart, the confidential information that you want to share. If it is intercepted, so it is going to impinge upon your right to privacy. So in this article, they have discussed about how it affects the right to privacy and what this bill seeks to do. Okay, here in this article, the author says that the Post Office Bill 2023 allows interception of the articles transmitted via post on grounds such as security of state, friendly relation with foreign states, public order, emergency, public safety, or contravention of the provision of the bill or any other laws. Okay, so the post offices may be given the authority to intercept on the basis of these things. What are the basis? As we discussed earlier, security of the state, friendly relation with foreign states, public order, emergency, public safety, or contravention of the provision of the bill or any other laws. This is the thing. Apart from this, the Union Minister of Communication and Information Broadcasting, he underscored that owing to India's complex and diverse society, it's very important to intercept. It's very important that interception is done, and this kind of provision is kept in the law for purposes of national security. Okay, but in this article, the author is saying that, like, how long the government will utilize the national security thing, like for every for every aspect. Means like, national security is of utmost importance, but like using this particular loophole or using this thing to, let's say, do away with the right to privacy of the individuals is not correct. So here they have pointed out about a Law Commission of India report also. So Law Commission of India has come up with 38th report, and it pointed out that since the term emergency has not been explicitly defined, it provides a wide ground for interception. It also flagged that since the term has not been defined in the Constitution, it cannot serve as a reasonable ground for suspension of fundamental rights under Article 19 Clause 1. Okay, Article 19 of the Constitution of India gives us the right to freedom of speech and expression. We can freely speak and we can freely express our ideas through written form of communication, through oral form of communication. But if it is, let's say, if it is intercepted, so this is a breach on the right to freedom, right to freedom of speech and expression. But this particular term, which is emergency, it has not been explicitly defined in this particular bill, and it is also not explicitly defined in the Constitution of India. So author says that since it is not defined, so the thing is, it gives a very broad scope to the post offices, and they can intercept anything and everything, and that's not healthy for our democracy like India. The court had opined with respect to Pegasus spyware scandal that the state did not get a free pass every time the specter of national security is raised. Okay, so Pegasus, you might have heard about this thing, Pegasus, earlier. So Pegasus is considered to be a spyware. What? It is a spyware. So this software, this spyware has been developed by some Israeli companies, and this Pegasus software or spyware has been used, right, by different countries, right, by different countries to intercept, to, let's say, spy upon their opposition members. And in India also, it was, let's say, like, it made a huge noise when some agencies have reported that spyware is now being used in India against opposition political party members. Okay, this is the thing. So basically, the courts in India have also given judgments related to this. Pegasus spyware. Courts have said that, like, you cannot use national security as a free pass, right, to do anything and everything that you wish to do. You have to respect the right to privacy of individuals, right? So this is the thing. Now we have another article. This article is again very important. It says, staying alert. India must sustain focus on genome sequencing for novel variants. Okay, this is an important topic. It is an important topic from science and technology section. Now let us understand what do we mean by genome sequencing. Basically, like every organism, every, let's say, like, living thing has a kind of genes, and if it is sequenced, you will be able to understand how those genes are arranged. That is, genome is complete set of genes of an individual, and if genome of an individual is, let's say, like, sequenced, you will understand how the genes are patterned, and you will understand how, let's say, different functionalities in that particular individual or in that particular organism happens. Recently, what has happened, a new variant of COVID-19 has emerged, and it has become a dominant variant in some of the countries. In India also, about 17 to 19 cases have been reported. Okay, so the author says that the rapidly increasing spread of JN.1 variant across the globe has led to prevalence of this variant. Okay, so it is a descendant of the BA.2.86 Omicron lineage. Okay, so the thing is, JN.1 is a new variant of COVID-19. It's a new variant of, let's say, virus that is spreading across the world. Okay, variant, it carries an additional mutation. It is known as L455S. Okay, so this is like other Omicron sublineage. So it is a kind of variant of Omicron, and since this has started spreading in India, there are many countries across the world where it has already been reported widely. Although in India the cases are very mild, people have not yet been killed, but this is a very important thing that people should start using mask, right? In this article, they have said that the law enforcement agency must not make mask mandatory, but the thing is, if you can afford to have a mask, start wearing mask so that, like, you can protect yourself from any such thing. So in India, 21 cases has been finally, let's say, reported, but the thing is, the number may vary from time to time. New cases may emerge, right? And this number is not that important. Okay, so this is the thing. Now we have another article, very short article in editorial section itself. It says revision sans vision. Okay, revision sans vision. So here, now let us understand about this article. Revision sans vision. It's totally a legal language. Now let us understand this. Okay, to understand this, basically we need to understand that from the parliament, from the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they have passed what? They have passed the criminal law bills. Okay, they have passed criminal law bills. Okay, criminal law bills they have passed. What criminal law bills they have passed? Basically, there are 3 criminal laws that they have passed. Number 1 is known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, it is known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, BNS 2023. Then they have, let's say, they have passed through the houses. I mean, like, they have not yet become an act. They are still this thing. Then we have Bharatiya Sakshya BS 2023. Then they have passed another one which is known as Bharatiya नागरिक सुरक्षा संहिता, ओके, भारतीय नागरिक सुरक्षा संहिता, BNSS 2023. So these three bills have been passed from the Lok Sabha now. Earlier it was passed through the Rajya Sabha, and these three bills that have been passed, they are going to replace the existing criminal laws. Which criminal laws they are going to replace? Number one, this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is going to replace the Indian Penal Code. Okay, it is going to replace Indian Penal Code. In short, it is known as IPC of 1860. Okay, IPC 1860. Number second, which it is going to replace, it is known as Indian Evidence Act. Okay, Bharatiya Sakshya is known as Indian Evidence Act. It's going to replace Indian Evidence Act of 1872. Then third that it's going to replace is known as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. It's Code of Criminal Procedure. Okay, it's going to replace Code of Criminal Procedure. Code of Criminal Procedure. In short, it is known as CRPC, Code of Criminal Procedure, I think 1898. You need to check this year once again, right? So basically what we need to remember, that Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is going to replace the Indian Penal Code once it becomes an act. Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita is going to replace the Code of Criminal Procedure, and the Bharatiya Sakshya is going to replace Indian Evidence Act. Now what is the need to replace this? Basically the central government contends that these laws, these criminal laws are, let's say, British era laws, and in India we are having a kind of, let's say, like judicial system that follows these laws, means like they want to they want to, like earlier it is considered to be a colonial era act. We want to Indianize the system. For that, earlier the central government has passed first version of these bills. They have introduced first version of these bills in the parliament, but that time what has happened? But that time, let's say when they have introduced the first version of these things, that time what has happened? Like there were opposition, right, from opposition parties, and like people have highlighted many flaws in this. Now they have, let's say, it has gone through the Parliamentary Standing Committee, there has been a scrutiny, and the central government of India has modified some of the contended thing. Now they have again introduced, it got passed from the Rajya Sabha, it got passed from the Lok Sabha, and now how it got passed? Now most of the opposition party members are suspended from the parliament because of recent security breach, and these people have been, let's say, protesting against it. Okay, most of them have been suspended, and since the ruling party has a majority, right, so anyhow it is legal for them and they have passed it through the house. Okay, so what we are interested in knowing is that these criminal law bills are going to replace these existing laws. Okay, so in this article they have mentioned about this, that the new laws have positive features but bring no path breaking change. It does not bring any path breaking change. There are some new things that have been introduced that are welcome, but there is no path breaking change. Only they have, let's say, changed the sections over there, but the wordings are similar as before. Then this is another article. It says WHO pre-qualifies a malaria vaccine by Serum Institute. Okay, WHO pre-qualifies a malaria vaccine by Serum Institute. So what has happened? The World Health Organization has let's say added the R21 Matrix M malaria vaccine developed by Oxford University and manufactured by Serum Institute of India to its list of pre-qualified vaccine. Okay, this is an important news. So this vaccine is effective against malaria. You know, people get affected by malaria, and it's a kind of malaria which is a mosquito-borne disease, places particularly high burden on children in the African region, where nearly 500,000 children die from disease each year. So that's an important thing, like, you know, WHO has pre-qualified this. That's an important, let's say, outcome of this. Now at last we have another topic. This is going to be the last topic of the day. It says North Korea's Kim again threatens to launch nuclear strike on rivals. So North Korea, as we know, let's say like it is a dictatorial regime. Here Kim Jong-un is the leader. So he is kind of like his father, grandfather. So they have been ruling over that country. He is also ruling. And North Korea has been testing different kinds of nuclear weapons. And recently it has tested the intercontinental ballistic missile. And the thing is, it seems that North Korean leader, let's say, is always ready with his arsenals to strike against its enemies. Okay. So in this article, they have said that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said his country has a policy of not hesitating to launch a nuclear strike on its rival if provoked, as he praised troops involved in the recent intercontinental ballistic missile test. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, basically he said that his country has a policy that they will not hesitate to launch missiles against its rivals if they are provoked. So that will be all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.